Good morning, students. Today we have one more EdCom class which is on the topic doctor patient communication. So, communication is a transactional process in which messages are filtered through the perceptions, emotions, and experiences of those involved. From whom to whom we communicate. We learn to express ourselves through appearance, style of speech, body language, and a lot more. An important part of the personality is the way an individual communicates. Medical field does not remain immune to these phenomena. In fact, communication is the glue that cements the doctor-patient relationship. So the importance of communication skills are we have several advantages for a person to possess good communication skills. In general, a doctor with these skills is more likely to have happy, satisfied patients than an equally technically competent doctor who does not bother about communication. Good communication also enhances adherence to long term therapy. On the other hand, lack of communication can lead to treatment discontinuation and therapeutic failure. This can extend to depression and despair, all to anger and complaints. Most complaints in the healthcare systems, both public and private, arise from poor communication. Very few people can judge the quality of doctor's examination, diagnosis, or prescription. Obviously, relatively few complaints originate in poor performance in these areas. Parents are annoyed by doctors' refusal to spend time with them, refusal to hear complaints, give clear explanations, a casual or callous approach to child's problem, and lack of courtesy and care, followed by poor treatment outcomes, are likely, and legal actions are likely. On the other hand, good communication can play a significant part in avoiding complaints and malpractice claims. So, under communication, we need to know these questions, the answers for these questions. So, why the communication is needed, and what communication, and how to communicate, and breaking the bad news, and some special situations. So, why the communication is required means informed patient is a win-win situation for all. So, whatever the situation of the patient that comes to the doctor, if he explains, the doctor explains the everything to the patient beforehand only, whatever the progress or the result may be good or bad. So if the situation is explained beforehand only, then there is no chance of the patient being getting hurted, or any negative thing happens also, the patient will be having in mind, okay, this thing has been explained by the doctor. So that is called win-win situation for the doctor and patient. And information therapy is the latest buzzword in Indian Medicare system. And the E power, that is 3 E's: engage, educate, and empower the patient. That is patient centered care. And one of the first duties of the physician is to educate the masses and not to take the medicine, said by William Osler. And the comprehensive treatment of the person is achieved only when we educate the patient. And patient's expectation or satisfaction is more in the if we educate the patient, and improves the compliance, health outcomes, symptom resolution with the E power, that is engage, educate, and empower. And patient safety is equal to doctor safety, and patient satisfaction is equal to doctor satisfaction. And what is this communication? So you can see in the before 80s, that time communication, all the people sitting together on the table and talking with each other. And nowadays, these days, all are addicted to phones, so nobody is communicating with each other. So listen first to the patient, make him feel you listen, and then understand, and make sure you understand, and then respond, make sure he is listening, and make sure he understands, and see his response, and again listen to the patient. So listening is the most important communication skill for a doctor. When you talk, you are only one repeating what you already know, but when you listen, you may learn something new. So, the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply. So, you have to maintain eye contact and then total attention, that is in the listening part. And an empathetic doctor has the perceptiveness and imagination to hear subtle emotional clues and the sensitivity to read body language and facial expression in order to hear what is not said. That is the quote by Schwartz. And after listening, touch is one more important way of communication, and then interpretation or understanding, and how to communicate. Building a relationship. First of all, a relationship has to be built between the doctor and patient by being punctual, greeting, maintaining eye contact, and seating arrangement. That is, suppose sitting beside will be not much suitable for maintaining correct relationship, and sitting opposite to each other, that will be helpful to maintain a relationship. And then opening the discussion. So the doctor has to take initiative to open the discussion, and gathering information, skill of history taking and eliciting the conditions of the patient suffering from, and impact of the problem on patient's life and his support system. So apart from those things, the doctor body language also carries much importance in the communication and sharing information and giving options of treatment. So not just saying that this is the treatment, you have to take it. So we have to give some options to the patient so that he can choose the treatment option, and we have to explain the pros and cons of the treatment. So reaching agreement on treatment is very very crucial, because after giving the options of treatment, helping the patient to choose the correct treatment is very much important for the doctor, and providing the closing for the communication to stop, and the actual action required to take place for the doctor to do some examination to the patient, or some giving injections or medical dosages like that. So actual action to take place. And after that, the next important part of the communication is breaking the bad news. That is, some person is died or he is in critical condition like that. So breaking that bad news is very very important. So for that, one important mnemonic is there, that is spikes, setting of the situation, and then patient's perception and invitation, knowledge imparting, and then empathy, strategy, and summary. So this spikes. So now we will see what can studying communication skills offers us as a medical practitioners. So it offers increased doctor job satisfaction and decreased conflict within the consultation, and more accurate and efficient interviews can be undertaken, and better clinical hypothesis can be generated, and increased patient satisfaction at the same time, and increased patient understanding and recall, and improved compliance and disease outcome, decreased medico legal complaints, and actual savings in the time, and more structure and control of difficult consultation. So all these are the things which we get as by studying the communication skills as medical practitioners. And then impacts of good communication skills. So however, the most important findings that have frequently been reported on the impact of communications are in the following aspects. So effective diagnosis and treatment outcome, and then patient's adherence, and doctor's competence and self-assertion, and patient's satisfaction. So these are the impacts of the good communication skills. If the doctor is having good communication skills, however, the most important findings that have frequently been reported on the impact of communication are in the effective diagnosis. The doctor is good at communication skills, he can give effective diagnosis and treatment outcome, and the patient's adherence. So the patient does not leave that doctor and go to other doctor, he will adhere to that doctor, and the doctor's competence and self assertion, so it will reflect in the competent doctor. And then patient satisfaction is also very much affected. And patient satisfaction, from a psychological perspective, there is two types of patient satisfaction. One is cognitive and one is emotional. So cognitive means how satisfied is the patient with their understanding of diagnosis, treatment and prognosis. So this is related to the doctor's verbal behavior. And emotional satisfaction is related to doctor's non-verbal behavior, ability to show care and concern by tone of voice, eye gaze, facial expression, body movement and posture. And interviewing and communication skills. So we have core communication skills, in that three dimensions are present: doctor patient interpersonal skills, information gathering skills, and information giving skills, and patient education. And advanced communication skills are the skills for motivating patient adherence to treatment plans. And other applications of core communication skills, like in special situations, dealing with anger, dependent personality disease, and breaking bad news. For this, there is learn mnemonic. Listen actively with respect and elicit the health benefits, beliefs of the patient, and assess the priorities, values, and supports, and recommend a plan of action with adequate explanation and understanding, and negotiate by involving the patient in next steps and decisions. So, this learn mnemonic we have to follow for the effective communication. And then scans mnemonic. So this is also for effective communications. So first, S is setting, that is how the doctor and patient are sitting, and the situation of where the both doctor and patient are present. And centeredness or cooperation, that is patient centeredness or doctor centeredness, like that. And then active listening, assessment, acknowledgement and agreement. And N is negotiation, that is after telling the treatment options and cost everything, so the patient also talks about why this is, how much, why that thing happens, what if the treatment is taken like this, what happens after that. So all those things are comes under negotiation. And then summary and safety net. And the techniques for the effective communication are class system. So for C for context, that is physical setting, and L for listening skills, and A for acknowledgement, and then strategy and summary. So coming to the first one, context or the physical setting. So it has to be a private room. The doctor patient should have privacy, and eye level should be even, and there should be personal space, and the body language of the doctor should be relaxed, and he has to maintain the eye contact. So like this it can be. And then listening skills, the doctor should give open-ended questions, and he has to facilitate the patient to talk, and he is able to clarify the doubts of the patient, and also time and interruptions should be taken. So the time also we have to give sufficient time to listen to the patient, and interruptions should not be present while the patient is talking. And the open-ended questions are that questions that have many answers. Closed questions have specific answer. So examples are, how are you? So this question can have many answers. And how can I help you? And then what happened? Tell me about your pain. So all these are open-ended questions. Serves as an invitation, and beware patient may ramble a while. And for effective communication, the verbal strategies are Combining open and closed questions. So, open questions are eliciting information, and closed questions will gather specific information. And, like examples, how would you describe your relationship with your parents? And do you have a good relationship with your parents? So, if we combine both open and closed end questions, then we can have effective communication and we can get the exact answer what we are expecting. And facilitating, sending an I am with you message may encourage development of hope, and simple gestures or phrases like nodding, smiling, tell me more, and pausing appropriately, repeating a key word the patient uses. So all these facilitates some effective communication. And clarifying, know exactly what the patient is saying. Examples, let me see if I have got this straight. So what you are saying is like that. Use a translator or social worker or other facilitator. Paraphrasing and reflection. So patient says everything is boring, there is nothing new going on, nothing exciting, all my friends are away, I wish I had money to do something different. So paraphrase, you can frame it as, with your friends gone and no money around, there is nothing for you to do right now. And reflection, you feel bored with the way things are for you right now. And what about non-verbal communication? It's not what you say, it's the way what you say that you say it. So there are several other positive non-verbals that can be used to indicate we are listening supportively, often known under the mnemonic SOLAR. That is sitting square onto the patient with an open position, leaning slightly forward with eye contact in a relaxed posture. So these are the mnemonic SOLER. So these non-verbal positions or the things will indicate that patient, the doctor is listening supportively. The most important is eye contact followed by facial expression and inflection of voice. And then the time and interruptions. Acknowledge that the patient is your primary concern, and records or pages and phone calls are better avoided. Clarify the time constraints, plan a continuation of the discussion, and don't interrupt while the patient is talking. And acknowledge is by empathetic response, by light touch, or trying to normalize the situation. So, empathy means demonstrating an understanding of patient's pain and distress while maintaining an objective and observant stance. So, being seen, being heard, being accepted. So, we'll be very much explaining that the doctor is empathetic. And the empathetic response, a verbal technique that acknowledges you have heard the patient's emotional content. So, no requirement to feel the emotion. So, identify the emotion by open-end question and identify its cause. Respond in a way that shows you understand the connection between the emotion and its cause. So, the Duke team uses the mnemonic NURSE to label 5 types of continuous statements. So, state the patient emotion by naming it and understand by empathizing with and legitimize the emotion, and praise the patient for the strength by giving respect and show support, and ask the patient to elaborate on the emotion. So maybe very important part of your non-verbal communication skills, that is touch. It helps the patient feel less isolated. So 3 rules for this touch in non-verbal communication is only touch a neutral area, hand or forearm, touch briefly and see if the patient appreciates it, and never do this to the opposite sex. Strategy, that is creating the plan. Think what is best medically and assess the whole patient and propose a strategy. Assess the patient's response and modify accordingly. And a reasonable plan the patient will follow is better than the ideal plan the patient will ignore. and any plan is far better than no plan. So, first think what is best medically and assess the patient and propose a strategy and assess the patient's response and modify it accordingly. So, reasonable plan which the patient will follow is better than an ideal plan. So, summarize main points. Any urgent questions are present, ask him, and anything else like that. And plan next contact by giving time and setting. So, the core communicational skills are interpersonal, the non-verbal communication. So, this question came in your first internal. So, see this carefully and if possible, make a notes of it. So, skills is in non-verbal communication like eye contact, physical proximity, and facial expression need to be improved to enhance patient satisfaction and adherence to treatment. This should convey to the patient that health practitioner is attentive and interested. Avoid overreacting. Some patients may appear demanding, dependent, or even at times adversarial. It is the physician's responsibility to not overreact to these situations. This can be achieved by establishing limitations or boundaries on what can be provided and suggesting appropriate ways for the patients to contact them. And establishing boundaries by frequent phone calls, unscheduled visits, and unrealistic expectations are ways in which some patients lose perspective of the shared responsibility of their care. Doctors need to establish boundaries for the patients in a way that does not belittle them. And active listening also comes under non-verbal communication. So, well-timed silence and eye contact. So, the posture, gesture, and facial expression will come under this. And empathy, respect, interest, warmth, and support. So, these are the core factors in rapport building. So, language, avoid medical terms, and non-verbal communication, use it and avoid overreacting and establish certain boundaries, and finally closing the interviews or closing the discussion. And the core communication skills in that again information gathering skills. So after educating, after getting uh, some rapport with the patient by giving empathy, respect, interest, so we have to gather information using an appropriate balance of open to closed questions. So silence, you need to learn use silence appropriately as a way to encourage express themselves more fully, raise difficult topics, and remember importantly clarifying the patient expectations about the consultation and clarifying the information given by the patient and noting down the sequencing of events and directing the flow of information, and finally summarizing. Information giving skills and making the patient educate about the treatment. Providing clear and simple information using specific advice with concrete examples. Putting important things first, and research suggests that what is said first is remembered. And using repetition and then summarizing and categorizing the information to reduce complexity and aiding in recall. And using tools, checking patient understanding of what has been said, and repeating instructions using diagrams, written instructions, and sometimes technical aids to explain different difficult concepts are helpful. The advanced communicational skills are the skills for motivating patient adherence to treatment plans. So, the skills for promotion of behavior. Realistic compliance with treatment plans may require patients to make significant changes in their diets, lifestyle, or daily routine on short term or long term basis. So, providing a rationale for behavior change, providing examples for role models, and allowing opportunities for verbal rehearsal of the details of treatment and taking feedback. And finally, doctors should be aware about the clinical communication and interpersonal skills that are required when dealing with difficult patients. So, the benefits of doctor patient communication are Communication with personal touch provides treatment beyond drugs, and patients are more likely to comply, and overall quality of care and patient satisfaction is improved. And the answering skills are the weakest communication skills among Indian medical professionals. And in Indian context, patient satisfaction is largely decided by the quality of answers and explanation given by the doctors. And understand the question clearly, answer fully and clearly but briefly. Avoid major technical terms. So, the barriers to communication. So, this is also one more important question. So, traditionally, we have not paid much attention to communicating well. Even today, few of us appreciate the importance of communication skills. Hardly any make a concerted effort to learn and apply such skills. So, this is perhaps the single biggest barrier to good communication. Even doctors who realize the importance of good communication are not always successful in implementing it. So, advantages of good communication, as I have told you already: patient satisfaction and feeling of empowerment and control, and adherence to treatment plan, and loyalty by the patient, and less chance of complaints and legal action. So, what are the barriers? So, workload on the doctors increases, and shortage of manpower, less time for individual patient, and lack of training in communication skills during medical education, and individual attitude and personality traits, and underutilization of paramedical staff. So, other than those, some other barriers are lack of time. So, lack of time, so that is less time for individual patient. And then arrogance is deeply ingrained into doctors, so we do not understand the need for explanation and often give none. And shyness, patients may be very shy and not ask the question they have in their minds. So on the other hand, the doctor may be shy and either ignore questions or give minimal and incomplete answers. And the language of and medical language, that is jargons, are very much important barriers to the communication. And deafness is one of the major cause of poor communication. And when we suspect a hearing impairment, we must speak loudly, slowly, and distinctly. And other useful measures are voice amplification if a device is available, a quiet room to improve signal to voice ratio, and use written communication. So, an important measure is to have relatives repeat the prescription instruction to ascertain they have been understood. And earlier, telephone would buzz discreetly on a receptionist's desk and consultation would be uninterrupted. But there is today, everyone is having the phone in their pockets and hands, and calls can interrupt the communication terribly. And when faced with a chronic or permanent condition, most patients or relatives want to know what treatment can achieve best for their patients, relief of symptoms, etc., and expected progress of patients during treatment, and what to expect by way of improvement, side effects, etc., and chances of complete cure and treatment options. So, the last point is especially important, that is treatment options. So the communication of out of 100%, 7% is by spoken words, 38% is by voice quality like tone, tempo, and intonation, and 55%, that is major percent, is through body language. So the principles of patient satisfaction are quality of the care, managing anxiety, fear, and pain, and better communications. Personal attention and staff accountability, sound organization culture. So, advantage of patient satisfaction are greater profitability, improved retention and loyalty of the patient, increased patient referrals and improved compliance, productivity is improved and better staff morale. And staff satisfaction gives reduced staff turnover, improved collections, greater efficiency, reduced risk of malpractice, and personal professional fulfillment. So now we can see the trust and vulnerability or the confidentiality in the doctor patient relationship. So, relationship has been defined through the rules of ethics and rules of law. So, relationship will lead to trust and finally confidentiality between doctor and patient. Traditional DPR is vital to professional survival of the physician and physical survival of the patient. Once you lose this relationship, one loses everything. So, doctor is equal to drug. Popular saying is half the problem goes away when you see the doctor, and remaining half goes away when you take the medicine. So, the pleasing aspect of DPR works for the patient. Communication and teamwork spirit between patient and doctor helps diagnosis more accurately. Patients respond better to treatment and recover more quickly. In chronic ailments, satisfying DPR is more effective drug than chemical drug itself. And why does a patient diverse to a doctor? In one in four adults due to communication difficulties, dissatisfaction with doctors' clinical knowledge, and unhappiness with referrals are less common reasons. Impersonal look, they don't feel listened to. And consultation interrupters, not providing time and not maintaining punctuality. I never felt welcome, he seemed rushing and restless, disinterested, mobile phones, rude staff, and does a serious mistake, is dishonest and untruthful. Doctor deserting a patient, it is relatively uncommon. Very demanding patient, maybe the doctor deserts him, treats doctor as a short order cook, abusive, doesn't keep appointment, hostile and self destructive, patient for whom nothing is ever right. Ideally, patients should say, I am not happy, speak tactfully and relevant, and be persistent if he does not understand. Dump a doctor if he gets mad if you speak of getting a second opinion. Understand doctors are not God and can't fix and explain everything. Doctors must realize they are poor businessmen, so they need to get organized. See patients in time, telephone calls, should learn to say I don't know, should make patient understand factors like insurance, etc. Control much of authorization process. And overall aim is quality health care. So, why this communication between the doctor and patient has suffered? Because of overwork and informed patient is not present and challenges veracity of doctor's superior clinical knowledge and choice of treatment, and internet with inaccurate and unbalanced information, and communication difficulties, lack of trust, intimacy, and honesty. So, how to improve this relationship? Don't compromise on quality of treatment. Eat what you can digest. Not the number of patients, but number of satisfied patients is very much important for a doctor. Best publicity is a satisfied patient. Bedside manners, having attention and paying empathy, and positive record, hope, and enthusiasm. Warm, empathetic relationships are highly therapeutic. Be a good scientist plus good psychologist. Medicine is a two-way street. Patient should not be a passive partner. So, how to improve the communication skills? Be competent and accessible. Time spent in single most important variable, and understanding acceptance of moral and ethical standards and limits. Availability and flow of information, and should respect patient as an individual. To sum up, medical pendulum is a swinging from art to science side. Healthy relationships can keep the costs down. Doctor need not practice defensive medicine and order unnecessary tests. Patients are the practice, rest is all paperwork. So don't ignore the whole person in favor of small portion of their anatomy. Periodic training in communication skills is very much helpful for the doctor, and learning moral attitudes and behaviors from role models. Learn the science of patient satisfaction. So finally, best clinician is one who is well armed with his scientific knowledge, practices using excellent clinical judgment, and having compassion and understanding. While cure is impossible, healing may be possible. Medical science has limits, but hope does not. Aim for being true healing partners. So thank you all. I hope you understood little bit. So see the video wherever you are wanting, you are taking, you need to take notes. So uh, doctor patient communication is very much important in the doctor patient relationship. Okay, so thank you all.